The deep ocean begins where sunlight ends. A few hundred meters below the surface, the last traces of daylight fade into blue, then into black. Beyond this point, there are no colors, no shadows, and no familiar sense of direction. For most of human history, this vast region was imagined as empty, silent, and lifeless. Early scientists believed that without sunlight, life could not exist in any meaningful way. They were wrong. What we are discovering now is that the deep sea is not a graveyard, but one of the most active and mysterious biological frontiers on Earth. More than 70% of our planet is covered by ocean, yet humans have explored less than 10% of it in detail. The deepest trenches descend farther than Mount Everest is tall, and the pressure there is so immense that it would crush a human body instantly. At these depths, temperatures remain near freezing, and food is incredibly scarce. Every assumption about how animals should live is challenged in this environment. And yet, life not only survives here, it thrives in forms that seem almost deliberately designed to defy logic. For centuries, the deep sea was beyond our reach. Nets dragged blindly across the seafloor brought up mangled remains, offering only hints of what lived below. Many deep-sea creatures were known only from damaged fragments, making them seem monstrous or deformed. It was not until the development of modern submersibles and remotely operated vehicles that scientists could finally observe these animals alive, moving naturally in their own world. What they saw forced a complete reevaluation of life on Earth. As cameras descended into the darkness, the first surprise was movement. The deep sea was not still. Animals drifted, hunted, migrated, and interacted with one another. Fish with enormous mouths and needle-like teeth hovered motionless, waiting for prey. Transparent creatures floated past like living glass. Strange flashes of light appeared and vanished, revealing a hidden language of bioluminescence. In a place without sunlight, light itself had become a biological tool. One of the most remarkable discoveries to capture public attention was the glass octopus. Unlike any octopus found in shallow waters, its body is almost completely transparent. Its muscles, skin, and organs lack pigment, allowing light to pass straight through. Only its eyes and digestive system are clearly visible, suspended inside its body like floating structures. This is not a coincidence or a flaw. In the deep sea, where there is nowhere to hide, being invisible is the most effective form of camouflage. The glass octopus moves slowly and deliberately, conserving energy in a world where every calorie matters. Observations have revealed that it carries its eggs within the curl of its arms, protecting them for long periods. This level of parental care is rare in such extreme environments, where survival often depends on abandoning offspring as quickly as possible. Yet here, in total darkness and crushing pressure, life has found a way not only to survive, but to nurture. Nearby, other creatures demonstrate even more extreme adaptations. Deep-sea dragonfish are predators that seem almost engineered for the dark. Their bodies are slender and black, absorbing nearly all light that touches them. Their teeth are long, thin, and transparent, reducing reflections that could reveal their presence. But their most astonishing feature is their ability to produce red bioluminescent light. In the deep ocean, most animals can only see blue or green wavelengths. Red light is effectively invisible to them. This gives dragonfish a secret advantage, allowing them to illuminate prey without being detected. For decades, scientists believed that bioluminescence served only simple purposes, such as attracting mates or confusing predators. New observations suggest it is far more complex. In some species, light is used to lure prey closer. In others, it acts as a form of communication, flashing in patterns that may signal territory or readiness to mate. In the deep sea, light has replaced sound and color as the primary language of life. As exploration expanded, researchers began encountering animals that challenged basic definitions of what an animal should be. Jellyfish-like creatures drifted through the water, stretching several meters in length, their bodies so fragile they appeared to dissolve into the darkness. These animals have no bones, no brains, and no centralized nervous systems, yet they respond to their environment with precision. Their movements are slow, hypnotic, and controlled, driven by networks of nerves spread throughout their gelatinous bodies. The discovery of these creatures has forced scientists to reconsider the role of the brain itself. Intelligence, awareness, and survival do not always require a central command center. In the deep sea, simplicity and distribution may be more effective than complexity and specialization. Evolution has not followed a single path downward into the darkness. Instead, it has experimented freely, producing solutions that seem strange only because they differ from what we know on land. Pressure remains one of the greatest challenges for deep sea life. At depths of several thousand meters, the weight of the water above exerts forces hundreds of times greater than atmospheric pressure. Proteins, cell membranes, and even DNA are affected. To survive, deep-sea animals have evolved biochemistry that remains stable under extreme compression. Their enzymes function differently, their membranes remain flexible, and their bodies avoid gas-filled spaces that would collapse instantly. Fish living at these depths often lack swim bladders, the gas-filled organs that help shallow water fish control buoyancy. Instead, they rely on gelatinous tissues and specialized fats to maintain their position in the water. Their muscles are weaker but highly efficient, designed for short bursts of movement rather than constant swimming. In a place where food is rare, wasting energy can be fatal. Food scarcity has shaped some of the most unsettling adaptations ever observed. Many deep-sea fish possess enormous mouths relative to their body size, lined with recurved teeth that prevent prey from escaping. Their stomachs can expand to many times their normal size, allowing them to consume animals larger than themselves. In the deep sea, meals are unpredictable. When food appears, it must be eaten immediately, regardless of size. Scavengers also play a crucial role in this ecosystem. When a whale or large fish dies and sinks to the seafloor, it becomes a temporary oasis of life. Entire communities gather around these carcasses, consuming every usable part over months or even years. Specialized worms, crustaceans, and bacteria break down bone and tissue, recycling nutrients back into the ecosystem. These events, known as whale falls, support species found nowhere else on Earth. Perhaps the most profound shift in our understanding of deep sea life came with the discovery of hydrothermal vent ecosystems. These vents release superheated water, rich in chemicals like hydrogen sulfide, once thought to be deadly to all life. Instead, scientists found dense communities of organisms clustered around them. Giant tube worms, blind shrimp, and unusual clams thrive here, relying on bacteria that convert chemical energy into food through a process called chemosynthesis. This discovery shattered the long-held belief that sunlight was essential for life. Entire ecosystems exist in complete darkness, powered not by the sun, but by the internal heat of the Earth itself. These findings have implications far beyond our planet. If life can exist in such conditions here, it may also exist on icy moons, like Europa or Enceladus, where subsurface oceans are thought to exist beneath frozen crusts. As technology improves, the pace of discovery continues to accelerate. High-definition cameras now capture details once impossible to see. Environmental DNA sampling allows scientists to detect the presence of species without ever seeing them. Water samples collected from deep-sea environments contain traces of genetic material shed by animals as they move through the water. Analysis of this DNA has revealed the presence of hundreds of unknown species, suggesting that what we have seen so far is only a small fraction of what exists. This realization carries a sense of urgency. Human activities are expanding into the deep ocean at an unprecedented rate. Deep-sea mining, trawling, and pollution threaten habitats that took millions of years to develop. Many deep-sea species grow slowly and reproduce infrequently, making them especially vulnerable to disturbance. Once destroyed, these ecosystems may never recover. The deep sea is not a distant, irrelevant world. It plays a critical role in regulating Earth's climate, storing carbon, and supporting the health of the entire ocean. The creatures living there are part of a delicate balance that affects life at the surface, including our own. Understanding them is not simply a matter of curiosity. It is essential to the future of the planet, and yet, despite all we have learned, the deep ocean remains largely unexplored. Every descent reveals something new, something unexpected. The darkness below is not empty. It is alive with movement, adaptation, and quiet resilience. This first glimpse into the deep is only the beginning. What lies further down, waiting beyond the reach of our current technology, may change our understanding of life itself. The deeper scientists traveled, the more the deep ocean began to feel less like an extreme edge of life and more like an entirely separate world operating by its own rules. At these depths, survival is not about speed or strength, but about efficiency, patience, and adaptation. Every movement, every biological process, is shaped by the need to conserve energy in an environment where food may not appear for weeks or even months. One of the most haunting discoveries made in recent years involves creatures that appear almost unfinished, as if evolution stopped halfway through their design. Fish with soft, gelatinous bodies drift just above the seafloor, their skeletons reduced and their muscles weak. To life at the surface, this might seem like a disadvantage. In the deep sea, it is a perfect solution. A soft body resists pressure far better than a rigid one, and low muscle mass reduces energy consumption. These animals are not fragile failures of evolution. They are masterpieces of survival in a place where strength would be wasted. Among the most famous examples is the deep-sea snailfish, now known to inhabit depths once thought completely uninhabitable. Recent observations have documented snailfish living more than 8,000 meters below the surface in the Hadal zone. At this depth, the pressure is so intense that it would destroy most known materials. Yet these fish glide calmly through the water, feeding and reproducing as if the conditions were ordinary. Their cells contain unique compounds that stabilize proteins under extreme pressure, preventing them from collapsing. This discovery has pushed the known limits of vertebrate life deeper than ever before. Crustaceans found in these regions show equally remarkable adaptations. Amphipods collected from the deepest trenches are often larger than their shallow water relatives, a phenomenon known as deep-sea gigantism. Their bodies are packed with enzymes that remain functional despite cold temperatures and crushing pressure. Some species have been found with high concentrations of aluminum in their exoskeletons, forming a protective gel-like layer that shields them from chemical damage. This was entirely unexpected. Aluminum was once considered toxic to most life forms, yet here it appears to serve a protective role. Not all deep-sea discoveries involve animals with recognizable shapes. In many cases, scientists encounter vast microbial communities that form the foundation of the entire ecosystem. Bacteria and archaea dominate large areas of the deep ocean, living within sediments, on rocks, and around hydrothermal vents. These microorganisms are capable of surviving on chemical energy alone, converting substances like methane and hydrogen sulfide into usable nutrients. Without them, most deep-sea life would not exist. In some regions, entire ecosystems are built around methane seeps, where methane gas escapes from the seafloor. These areas support unique organisms that host methane-consuming bacteria inside their tissues. The relationship is so close that neither organism can survive without the other. This level of biological cooperation challenges traditional ideas of individual survival, showing that in extreme environments, life often persists through partnership rather than competition. As exploration expanded into new regions, scientists began rediscovering species that had been lost to time. One such animal is the faceless cusk eel, first recorded in the 19th century, and then unseen for more than a century. When it was finally observed alive again, its appearance was as strange as the old description suggested. Its eyes are buried beneath skin, its mouth positioned on the underside of its head, and its body adapted for life close to the seafloor. This design allows it to feed while minimizing exposure to sediment and pressure. Its rediscovery was a reminder of how easily life can disappear from scientific knowledge without ever going extinct. Equally unsettling are deep-sea predators that rely on deception rather than speed. Anglerfish are perhaps the most famous example, using bioluminescent lures to attract prey in total darkness. But recent observations have revealed even more complex behaviors. Some anglerfish species show extreme sexual dimorphism, with males permanently fusing to the bodies of females. Once attached, the male becomes little more than a source of sperm, losing most of his organs and individuality. This strategy ensures reproduction in an environment where finding a mate may be nearly impossible. Such adaptations raise uncomfortable questions about how we define individuality and survival. In the deep sea, traditional biological boundaries blur. Bodies merge, identities dissolve, and life continues in forms that would seem unimaginable elsewhere. Evolution here does not prioritize fairness or comfort, it prioritizes persistence. Jelly-like creatures dominate much of the deep ocean's biomass, yet they remain among the least understood animals on the planet. They're delicate. Bodies are often destroyed when brought to the surface, leaving scientists to rely on in situ observations. Recent footage has revealed species that can expand and contract dramatically, changing their shape to capture prey or avoid detection. Some produce intricate patterns of light that ripple across their bodies, possibly serving as communication or defense mechanisms. The absence of a centralized brain in many of these organisms has profound implications. It suggests that consciousness, responsiveness, and survival do not require the structures humans associate with intelligence. Instead, they can emerge from simpler systems distributed throughout the body. This challenges not only biological assumptions, but philosophical ones as well. The deep sea also preserves records of Earth's past. Sediments accumulate slowly, trapping chemical signatures and biological remains that can be millions of years old. By studying these layers, scientists can reconstruct ancient climates and extinction events. Some deep-sea species appear to have changed very little over vast spans of time, earning them the label of living fossils. Their continued existence provides a rare glimpse into evolutionary history. Despite these discoveries, much of the deep ocean remains unvisited. The cost and difficulty of exploration limit the number of dives that can be conducted each year. Many areas have never been seen by human eyes or cameras. In these untouched regions, it is almost certain that unknown species exist, adapted to conditions we have yet to encounter. This sense of the unknown is heightened by the knowledge that some deep-sea animals may never be observed alive. They may exist only in small, isolated populations, hidden in environments too extreme even for modern technology to reach regularly. Their lives unfold in silence, far from the surface world, shaped by forces that remain largely invisible to us. The deeper scientists look, the more they realize that the deep ocean is not merely an extension of surface ecosystems. It is a fundamentally different realm, governed by unique evolutionary pressures. The creatures found there are not anomalies or errors. They are the result of millions of years of adaptation to conditions that most life could never tolerate. What makes these discoveries especially powerful is not just how strange the animals appear, but what they reveal about life itself. They show that life is not fragile. It is adaptable, persistent, and endlessly inventive. Even in the most extreme environments on Earth, life finds a way to exist, to reproduce, and to continue. And still, this is only part of the story. Beneath these known depths lie regions even more remote, where pressure increases further and exploration becomes even more difficult. If life can survive here, there's no clear boundary beyond which it must stop. The question is no longer whether life exists in the deepest parts of the ocean, but how much of it we have yet to find. As technology advances and exploration continues, the deep sea will keep revealing its secrets, one descent at a time. What we have seen so far suggests that the most extraordinary discoveries may still lie ahead, waiting in the darkness, untouched and unknown. The more scientists push into the deepest parts of the ocean, the clearer it becomes that humanity has only begun to understand this hidden world. Even now, with modern submersibles and advanced sensors, every expedition is limited by time, cost, and risk. Many regions of the deep sea have never been visited at all. Others have been seen only once for a few brief hours before the darkness closed in again. What we know is shaped by short glimpses into an environment that operates on timescales far longer than our own. One of the most powerful tools changing deep-sea exploration is environmental DNA. Every organism sheds genetic material into the water through skin cells, waste, and mucus. By collecting water samples and analyzing this DNA, scientists can detect the presence of species without ever seeing them. These studies have revealed genetic signatures that do not match any known animal. This means entire species, possibly entire ecosystems, are living in the deep ocean without ever having been observed. They exist as data before they exist as images. Known by their genetic code alone, this realization has transformed how scientists think about discovery. In the past, a species was considered unknown until it was physically captured or photographed. Now, existence can be proven without direct contact. Somewhere in the darkness, animals are moving, feeding, and reproducing, leaving behind traces of DNA that tell us they are there. What they look like, how they behave, and how they survive remain complete mysteries at the same time. Human activity is reaching into these depths faster than our understanding can keep up. Deep-sea mining operations are being planned and tested in multiple regions of the world. The seafloor contains valuable minerals used in batteries, electronics, and renewable energy technologies. Extracting these resources would involve disturbing vast areas of sediment that have remained stable for millions of years. The impact on deep-sea ecosystems could be permanent. Unlike shallow water environments, deep-sea habitats recover extremely slowly. Many species grow at a slow pace and reproduce infrequently. A disturbance that lasts days or weeks could have consequences that persist for centuries. Scientists fear that entire communities could be destroyed before they are even documented. Extinction in the deep sea can happen silently without ever being noticed. There is also the growing threat of pollution. Microplastics have already been found in deep-sea trenches, carried downward by currents and sinking particles. Chemical pollutants bind to sediments and accumulate in the bodies of deep-sea animals. Even in most remote parts of the ocean, human influence is present. The idea that the deep sea is untouched is no longer true. Yet the deep ocean is not just vulnerable, it is also vital. It plays a crucial role in regulating Earth's climate by absorbing heat and storing carbon. Deep-sea organisms help control the movement of nutrients through the ocean, influencing productivity at the surface. Changes in these systems can ripple upward, affecting fisheries, weather patterns, and global climate stability. What happens in the deep does not stay in the deep. Beyond its environmental importance, the deep sea holds extraordinary scientific potential. Enzymes from deep-sea microbes are already being used in biotechnology because they function under extreme conditions. Compounds produced by deep-sea organisms are being studied for their potential medical applications, including cancer treatments and antibiotics. These animals have solved biological problems that humans are only beginning to understand. Perhaps most intriguing is what deep-sea life can teach us about life beyond Earth. Astrobiologists studied deep-sea ecosystems as models for environments that might exist on other planets and moons. Places like Jupiter's moon Europa and Saturn's moon Enceladus are believed to have oceans beneath their icy surfaces. If life can thrive in Earth's deep ocean without sunlight, it may also exist in these distant worlds. The creatures living in our own depths may be the closest analogs we have to extraterrestrial life. As exploration continues, scientists are learning that the deep sea is not defined by isolation alone. Many species migrate vertically, traveling hundreds or even thousands of meters each day. This daily movement, known as diel vertical migration, is one of the largest migrations on Earth in terms of biomass. Trillions of animals rise toward the surface at night to feed and sink back into the depths by day. This movement plays a major role in transporting carbon from the surface to the deep ocean, influencing global climate cycles. These migrations remind us that the ocean is a connected system. The boundary between surface and deep is not absolute. What happens in one zone affects the other. The deep sea is not a separate world beneath us. It is part of the same living system that supports all life on Earth, despite the progress made. So far, the deep ocean still resists complete understanding. Many species are known from only a handful of observations. Their life cycles, reproductive strategies, and lifespans remain unknown. Some may live for decades or even centuries. Others may reproduce only under specific conditions that are rarely observed. Each unanswered question highlights how much remains to be discovered. There is also a philosophical dimension to these discoveries. The deep sea challenges human assumptions about dominance and control. It reminds us that vast parts of our planet exist beyond our influence and understanding. In a world increasingly shaped by human activity, the deep ocean remains one of the last places where nature operates largely on its own terms. As technology improves, future exploration may reveal ecosystems even more complex and unfamiliar than those already discovered. Autonomous underwater vehicles, artificial intelligence, and long-term monitoring systems will allow scientists to observe deep-sea life over extended periods. This will provide insights not just into what these creatures look like, but how they live, interact, and respond to change. What is certain is that the deep sea will continue to surprise us. Every discovery so far has expanded the known limits of life. Each new species challenges assumptions and raises new questions. The darkness below is not empty or barren. It is filled with resilience, adaptation, and quiet complexity. The story of newly discovered deep-sea creatures is not just a story about strange animals. It is a story about life itself. It shows that life does not cling only to comfortable conditions. It pushes into extremes, reshapes itself, and endures in ways we are only beginning to understand. Somewhere far below the surface, beyond sunlight and sound, countless lives continue unseen. They do not know they are mysterious to us. They simply exist, following the rules of a world shaped by pressure, darkness, and time. As long as the ocean remains, these hidden ecosystems will persist, waiting for the moment when humanity is finally able to see them clearly, and even then, it is unlikely we will ever see it all. The deep sea is vast, ancient, and largely unexplored. It reminds us that on our own planet, there are still frontiers left to discover.